Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If this is your first time, my name is Vinny and today we're talking watches. More specifically, we're talking about the brand new latest addition to Tudor, the Black Bay 58 Navy. This one I got on release day. I've had enough wear time with it now to be able to give you guys a decent review and walk through some of the pros and cons about this watch or what I've noticed in this last month and a half of ownership. I want to go ahead and give you guys a quick breakdown. I've had tons and tons and tons of people reach out to me about this watch, asking me my likes, my dislikes about it. I want to thank you guys so much because the unboxing video for this watch broke 15,000 views, which is awesome for my channel. So I want to thank you guys so much for supporting me so far. And so I wanted to go ahead and give you guys a proper review for everyone that's been wondering how much I actually like this watch. Now, a lot of you guys know Tudor, essentially it's a sister brand of Rolex. So they tend to do more crazier variations, different color types, things that Rolex themselves usually won't do. Rolex tends to play it safe, whereas Tudor kind of goes crazy with their color combinations and so on and so forth. Now the Black Bay 58, this is a 39mm and it comes in two colors. Now originally it was a black and gild. Now you can get a blue or navy blue, which when we dive in closer, you'll see it's a blue on blue spec. Now with Rolex, if you wanted a blue on blue watch in a Submariner spec, you essentially have to go with the Smurf, which is a white gold spec Submariner, and that's up into the $30,000 range, which makes it quite unattainable to majority of people. Having a $30,000, $35,000 watch, not every single person can afford that. Whereas Tudor, with a blue on blue spec that essentially looks like the Submariner or the Snowflake, right? Because that's essentially what this derives from, is a $4,000 variation or a $3,700 MSRP. After tax for me is about $4,000, which is a much more affordable option and essentially will give you the same look for much less cost. So here's a much closer look at the Black Bay 58 Navy. Again, it is more of an anodized blue color rather than the Pelagos. This seems to have a darker sheen to it. If you can look up close, when the light hits just right, it again is just such a beautiful watch, especially in sunlight, direct sunlight. It looks amazing. I'll go ahead and show you guys a photo of that here. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this watch. So it is a 39mm spec, about 1mm smaller than the Submariner. It seats very, very low to the wrist. When I put this on and give you guys a wrist roll, you'll see that it seats really low. I believe it is a 11.9mm height, which again is awesome. You can hide this under your button up just fine, under your cuff. When the crown is screwed down completely, this watch does have a 200-meter water resistance. And if you can see from the side here, it does have a domed sapphire crystal. From certain angles, you'll be able to see that it does have a magnification. For instance, that corner here by the 9-hour mark, you'll see that it kind of magnifies it, and that's just due to the sapphire crystal. A lot of people were saying, you know, does this top marker actually align with the 12-hour mark? And in person directly, yes it does, but on camera, sometimes due to the shape of the dome crystal, you can see here that it might give an illusion that it is offset. But don't worry, in person it looks perfectly fine and is a completely aligned watch. So they did manufacture just properly. It didn't. It's not a defect, I would say. Moving on to the bracelet here, it is a very lightweight stainless steel bracelet. It does have these rivets on the side. These aren't real. I'm not sure why they have them, but I guess it's just a little different character for this watch. But it is a very lightweight watch. If you're going to compare this to, again, the Submariner, the weight difference is actually quite substantial. When you wear this watch in person, you'll know that it seats way closer and it just feels lighter on the wrist, and that's just probably simply due to the materials that's used in the watch. The nice thing about this watch is that it does have a 70-hour power reserve, so it's almost 3 days of reserve time where you can actually leave the watch, not wear it, come back, and you'll still be tracking time. Whereas the current Submariner, this is a 2020 version, pre-September 1st. This one here is a 40-hour power reserve, so I believe this watch might be getting a bump up in power reserve time eventually, if not very soon here, up to a 70-hour power reserve, which the Tudor already has. So as far as tech goes and technology in this watch, it's actually pretty advanced for what it is, and again for the price of $3,700 MSRP. And that again is the price with the bracelet. There are two other versions. One is on a NATO and one is on a blue suede looking style strap, and those are slightly less expensive by a couple $100s. I opted in for the bracelet version because I always figured that if you can get the bracelet version, you can always put on NATO straps and so on and so forth after, but it's much harder to get a stock bracelet if you get one of the other strap options. So that's kind of why I went with the bracelet option here. So to give you guys a quick wrist roll, here it is on the wrist. And again, like I said, it does seat very, very low, which I personally love about watches. I don't like watches that seat too high on my wrist. I prefer a very low, slim profile, which this Tudor does an amazing job of. Because the casing seems to be smaller than the Rolex Maxi case, it just feels like a much smaller watch, much more daily wearable, I would say. It's just very light and comfortable. The bracelet obviously is not as good as a Rolex Oyster bracelet, but with this micro adjustment, you can't just pop it in and out. It's actually a little bit more work, so it's not as easy as, let's say, the 5mm easy link adjustment for the Oyster bracelet or the glide lock system that the Submariner has. So that is one thing to note, that the bracelet itself for the Tudor isn't as intuitive and up to date with technology as some of the other watches. However, just make sure you get it sized right from your AD and you should be okay. If you really needed to, I know you can adjust this. However, it's just much more work and a little bit more difficult to get this lined up than it is on some of the other watches out there. But nonetheless, overall, the bracelet is awesome. It is fairly comfortable for what it is. Again, for the price point of $3,700 MSRP, which is less than half of the Submariners, you get a very comparable watch. Again, going back to the original point before we dove in closer, to get a Submariner in this blue on blue spec, you have to go with the Smurf, and the price difference is just astronomically different, mainly due to the white gold material of the Submariner Smurf, right? So I think this Tudor gives you an awesome alternative to the Submariner if you wanted a blue on blue color. Now, coming back to the movement of the bezel, on the Submariner you have a 120 click bezel action, so every half minute you're gonna get a click, whereas the Tudor has a 60 click bezel action. So if you listen closely here, you can see it sounds awesome. It's nice and crisp. Again, I barely use it, so it's probably more crisp than if you were to actually use it and dive with it. But again, this is a diving watch, so if you did want to use that bezel action, it is there and it's accessible. Just slightly different from the Submariner. This one is a every 1 minute bezel action click, whereas the Submariner is an every 30-second bezel action click. 60 clicks here and 120 here. Another awesome feature about this watch is, because of its color, that blue on blue color here, you can actually put on quite a few NATO straps and or other strap variations and make it look very, very nice. I'll throw some photos up. For instance, this blue and blue combo looks absolutely awesome with a silver or gray NATO strap, making the watch actually quite versatile. I know when this first came out, some people said that you know, this watch wasn't versatile and so on and so forth, because the color was just so different. It wasn't black on black, it was blue on blue, and you can't necessarily wear it every day. However, as people started to experiment with the watch a little bit more and try on other straps, they found that it actually is pretty versatile and you could quite essentially daily this watch. This blue on blue is very, very nice. It's a nice blue, so you could wear it every single day. It's not gonna stand out as much as, like, let's say a Pelagos, because of that lighter shade blue. This darker anodized blue has a little bit more of a classier royal blue look to it. So I would definitely say you could daily this watch, and you could put other straps on it to make it actually quite more versatile than just having it on the standard stainless steel strap. And we're back. I'm gonna go ahead and put the specs of the watch up on the screen for you guys in case you missed it. Now, if you have any questions that I haven't already gone over in this video, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. I will make sure I reply to you. Again, this watch is awesome. The price point is great. The tech is great. It is a great alternative to a Submariner for half the price. And again, the color variation, if you wanted this watch color variation with this style, it's actually an awesome value, right? Because then you got to go with a white Smurf. That's about 9 times worth what this watch is. So really, I really do think it's a great watch. You could totally use this watch as a daily, and I absolutely fell in love with it when I first bought it. I could not take it off. I wore it almost every single day for about 14 to 18 days, almost a little bit over 2 weeks. So that should say a lot. I've really, really enjoyed the time I've had with this watch so far, and I'm going to start experimenting with some other straps. I really only take the strap off the Rolex Explorer that I have. I try not to mess with my other watches too much just because I don't trust myself. I take that Bergeon tool and sometimes I'll scrape the bottom of the case, which hurts a lot, right? So I haven't actually experimented the strap on this watch. I've seen quite a few photos of people wearing other straps, and it does look awesome. And before we close this video and I let you guys go, make sure you drop down to the description below and make sure you take a look at the link that I have there. It is a link to a free training for my Amazon FBA program and business that I run. It's a side hustle that I have. I've been doing it for about 8-9 years now, and a lot of the money that I make from my sales on Amazon go into watches. It's simply just a lot of my proceeds from my Amazon FBA business that I have, and now teach people how to do it. Also, for my main business, I do run a real estate team here in the San Francisco Bay Area. So if you do need help buying or selling real estate, or just need advice, I can give you guys a lot of help on that. Just send me an email here below for either. If you're interested in my Amazon or real estate, buy, sell, investing, whatever it is, send me an email and I'd be more than happy to help you guys. I actually get quite a few emails about watch advice. If you need help with that, either drop a comment below or send me an email directly to the same email. Just put watch advice on the topic so I know what it is, and I'll make sure to give you guys my 2 cents on what you guys are up to. With that being said, I hope you guys liked the video. Make sure you drop a like. It helps me tremendously. We are getting more and more subscribers, so I want to thank all the new subscribers joining and obviously the returning people. You guys mean so much to me. We are getting closer to 2,000, but I think that's an easy goal. I think the next goal should just be 5,000. So if we can get to 5,000 subscribers, that would be awesome. So of course, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.